Hey, this is a video for college students. So if you're getting ready to go to college or you're a freshman, sophomore, junior, whatever it is, senior, I need y'all to really do these steps if you have not done them already, okay? This is coming from somebody who has a bachelor's degree, has a master's degree, makes over six figures, and is actually able to help people your age with the different tips that I'm about to give you right now, land jobs in today's job market, making them over $100,000. Okay? Listen to this real quick. First thing that you should be doing when you get to college is you need to be setting up a meeting with a therapist, a psychologist who can help you understand the transition is going to be like from being a child to being an adult. Because once you turn 18, you are an adult. You're going to have different responsibilities that are going to hit you fast. A year might not feel like it's fast when you're in school, but it is fast. And you want to make sure you are on the right track to make the best decisions for your future. Because believe it or not, decisions you make at 17, 18, and 19 have a lasting impact on things you'll be able to do or have to do when you turn 20 years old, 25 years old, and even up to 55 and 70 years old. So you want to make those right decisions in those first few steps. Number 2, I recommend that you get yourself a professional Gmail email account. You might get one with your school, but typically the ones with the school are going to be something that might have numbers, or it's going to look like a school email, even if it has the school's domain. I recommend that you create yourself a Gmail account that you are going to use as your personal Gmail, but also you're going to use it as a Gmail for anything business related, anything professional related. So for me, what I did was I took my name, and my name is very common, Shannon Williams. So I couldn't say shannonwilliams@gmail.com. But what I was able to do was put reach in front of it. So it's reach, REACH, shannonwilliams@gmail.com. Simple to say, simple to spell, simple to read. No extra dots, no numbers, no nicknames, adult stuff. You'd be surprised how many compliments I've gotten just on my email address. When I give my email address out to professionals, they say, wow, that's a really good email. Because a lot of adults, especially college students, are still holding on to My Little Pony 355@yahoo.com or My NASCAR Race Boy at hotmail.com. You got to get yourself a grown folk email address, because when you put your email address on resumes, you don't want to look childish. Okay? So, got the therapist. We have the email. Next thing that I recommend is you should be finding some way to have a constantly evolving resume. I started my resume when I was probably 14 years old, because I started working at 13, and I started teaching myself software every single year. I would learn something new. But you are going to forget a lot of the software that you learn over time, and not forget how to use it, but you're going to forget that you had to learn it. I'll give you an example. Have you ever thought of putting Microsoft Word on your resume? It's possible that you just said no. I did not think about putting anything Microsoft Office related on my resume when I was younger, because I used it so often in school. I thought it was a given. With all the different technologies out now, Google Docs, you got the GPTs out, you got Notepad, text edit, all that stuff. A lot of people are missing out on having basic stuff that they know how to do, and they're leaving it off their resumes. And if an AI bot is reviewing your resume, you're losing points off of stuff that you probably know how to do. So I recommend you start your resume as young as you can, but definitely when you're in college, you need to put stuff that you use and be specific. So if you're using Microsoft Office, you want to put the tools that you use in Microsoft Office: Excel, Microsoft Word, PowerPoint. These are just Access. They got a bunch of different tools. If you're using Gmail or Google Suite, which I recommend that you do, as I just said, you need to be putting things such as Gmail, Google Drive, which is something we'll talk about next. You want to put Google Docs, Google Sheets, and anything else that you might be using that's Google related. Now, when you start doing this, you will also want to think about your skills. So I have in my resume, I have a tools and skills section. I have tools, which is a bunch of software I know how to use. I have different coding languages that I know. I have different applications that I might use. And then I have my skills. And this is where I can put programming, 3D modeling, public speaking, video editing, graphic design, audio editing. I have all of these different things that I can use just because of the fact that I'm using these things to actually. I lost my train of thought, but the fact that I'm actually using these tools makes it where you want to have those things inside of it because that is something you're doing. And I recommend having my tools and my skills separate. If you all are wondering why I'm so out of it now, I'm drinking one of these because I have ADHD and it's sometimes really hard for me to go to sleep if I took my medication. And I want to make sure I don't get only 2 hours of sleep like I did last night. So I'm drinking this, and now my brain is just like, go to sleep. But let's keep going. Next thing you want to do is this. I know it's hard when you are a broke college student, but you need to start doing financial planning. You do. I would say I saved myself so much money and headache because when I was 19 years old and I got my first real job, I had a 401k. And I started investing into my 401k at 19. I was able to then pull out my own $28,000 from my 401k to put down on my first home when I was in my early 20s, mid 20s. A lot of folks don't have that money to do that. And it might be because of a bunch of different circumstances. But if you're 19, 18, 17, 20, whatever it might be, you're the youngest you're ever going to be for the rest of your life. So why not take advantage of that by meeting with a financial advisor, seeing if you need to be investing in the 401k, if you can get with a company, if there's an IRA that you can invest in until then, if there's a high yield savings account that you can start putting your money into. Don't do the young, dumb thing where you blow all of your money on clothes, chicks, food, gaining the freshman 15, and then you have nothing to show for it. Invest something. Even if it's 15, 20 bucks a week, something needs to be invested into your future growth and financial situation. And I'm going to tell you another thing. You need to be applying for scholarships like crazy. If you're having to take student loans off, do the calculations on how long a student loan is going to take you to pay off, what the interest rate is, so how much more is that loan going to be after a certain amount of time, and then what job you would need to have to pay that entire student loan off within a certain amount of time. I like to say 5 years. I think 5 years is ideal because once you start getting above 5 years, we're talking about having kids, families, and you don't want to have all this stuff lingering for that long. So try to see what job you would need to have to pay that thing off in 5 years. And then you need to be applying for internships like crazy to try to find you a job that does tuition reimbursement. And let me tell you about what tuition reimbursement is, just in case you don't know. Some jobs will pay for you to go to school. Wow, I didn't know that. I actually didn't know that. I didn't know that until I was 19 working at my job, and they told me I could leave school and they would pay for me or pay a percentage of it for me to go back to school as long as it was something related to the job I was doing. So it was a win-win for me. I was able to leave school and go to a job that was paying me a salary with bonuses and get the tuition reimbursement. And I did it twice. I did it at my old company for a bachelor's degree, and I just did it at my current company for a master's degree. So the companies do this. But this is why you need to try to get your foot in the door early. Don't try to wait until your senior year to try to work, because it's a lot harder when you get to senior year. And now these jobs are, a lot of them, the people are passing you by because they have 2 years of experience having the foot in the door, and you're still trying to get into the door. It's a lot harder, and you'll be a lot more in debt if you are using debt. So tuition reimbursement is something you need to keep in mind. Another thing I'm going to recommend is this. You need to be on LinkedIn as an adult. When I say as an adult, I mean you need to get a headshot created. If you don't have the money to go and hire a photographer, you don't need to do that. These iPhones take pictures that are clear enough that they will think somebody spent $2,000, $3,000 on a camera. You set it up just as if you were going on TikTok to make a video or whatever it's going to be. Get you some decent lighting. What I recommend is you do it on a nice sunny day outside because natural lighting is beautiful. Make sure your face is lit. Make sure your hair is done. Your facial hair, whatever it is groomed up. You look clean. You brush your teeth that day. Your skin isn't super ashy. And you have some form of professional upper on, because you're only going to see so much with your headshot. So if you have I like these polos. I had these custom made. You can have custom made polos. You can get plain polos for like $5 somewhere. You can have a suit jacket on, depending on how you want to do it. If you're a young lady, you can do a nice dress, or if you want to do a business suit, top, whatever it might be. Just have that part look professional. Get at the angle. It's an angle. And when I say angle, I mean you want to look at LinkedIn and look at these people who are in higher positions that you want to get to, and try to see how they take their headshots for their profile pictures, and that's the angle that you want to shoot for. You also want to get your grown-up LinkedIn to have your skills on it. It needs to stay updated with wherever your education is, whatever knowledge you have, whatever organizations you decide to get involved with, any volunteering that you decide to do. You need to have all of that in your LinkedIn. Create yourself an about, where you have just a little segment about what your purpose is and what skills you bring to the table or what you're looking to do. And you'll be surprised how much that sets you apart alone, because a lot of people go into LinkedIn and don't refresh the page. They still have high school pictures, and nobody's taking that account serious when your account looks like that. The value of that, the value of having your account where people take you serious is this. Jobs are going to look at your LinkedIn, and you might even have people who connect with you on LinkedIn, and based off how your presentation is, want to work with you. And I can tell you this is a fact because of this. I had a lady reach out to me one time, and this was sometime in the summer last year, and she randomly reached out to me, and she told me, I don't know you, I don't know anything about you, but I loved how you presented yourself. Your LinkedIn picture was so professional. The information that you had, I saw stuff on there about gaming, and my son's in the game, and he's looking for a job, and whatever the case might be. And we met off of that. We met off of my LinkedIn account, and that turned into a client because her son was interested in doing gaming. Me being a coach, I'm like, of course I could teach him as much as I can on life and organization, and all of that stuff led to a $2,000 sale that day. That it was nothing I could have done to make that happen, because this is somebody who lived in California. But it was the fact that my LinkedIn was in order. I had my adult big boy LinkedIn ready to go, and it showed all of my skills where people could see what I brought to the table before they had any conversation with me. That's what you need to do. And you need to keep it updated. I would say you need to be updating at least once a month. Not the picture. Once you get a good picture, cool. But your skills, you need to be upgrading once a month. And if you're saying, I don't have enough skills to put updated once a month, you're not going hard enough. That's the truth. If I had my sound effect thing, I'd say boom. If you don't have, if you're not able to update your resume, and this is not me saying this to say, try to put you down. I need you to understand what I'm saying. If you want to be seriously competitive in today's market with AI right behind you and in front of you, ready to take your position, you have all of these people from these big industries being laid off, making it even harder for a newbie to come in and get a role. You have to work harder than you were expected to work before to be competitive. You have to. So it's not something that would have been expected probably 10, 15 years ago, but now it is. You can't just have, I went to so-and-so college. That's not enough. You can't just have, I went to so-and-so college and I don't know Microsoft Word. That's not enough. That's 8th grade expectation now, if not lower. It might be 5th grade expectation for somebody to get Microsoft Word. And college, they don't really look at as this makes you better than this person anymore. So you need to be going hard. And one thing a month, minimum. One thing a month, minimum. And you don't have to, this is the other thing, you don't have to go and stress yourself out about it. You can make it things that are related to your hobbies. And that's what I did. I knew I wanted to do game development. I started teaching myself different elements of game development. So when I had my resume when I was 19, I actually had stuff to show and say, hey, I taught myself all this stuff at home. And the company said, okay, cool. We want you to come do it at the company. And that wound up becoming a gig because of the stuff I did at home, my freelance, my fun stuff. So if there's a hobby you have and you can find a way to use tools, and set up projects that require you to learn something new, then you have a perfect track to go and do the one new thing a month and keep that LinkedIn updated, keep your resume updated, and you will set yourself up for success in a much better way. Because you got to think, I just gave you a whole package. You have a professional email address. You're already winning on that. You have a LinkedIn account that is professional with a professional headshot. You have your resume with simple things that people forget to put on there added. You have all of your accomplishments, even volunteering events, organizations, everything added to LinkedIn. You are setting yourself up where I was always taught this: preparation meets opportunity. And I forgot what it equals. But basically, you are doing the preparation. Now all you need is an opportunity. And this is where you opportunities are not guaranteed. That's why it's an opportunity. But you can do everything in your power to increase your chances. And I say this: I do not want you to go and be that person reaching out to everybody saying, "Can you give me a job? Can you give me a job? Can you give me a job?" Don't do that, because people will blacklist you. I know that to be the case, where people will not even message you back because they say you're just trying to get something out of this for yourself, and you don't even know me. Why would I do a favor for you and I can do a favor for my family member first, who I actually have a relationship with? It's how people think. So what you want to do is this: you want to figure out what value you can bring. Figure out what value you can bring to a company. And the best way to do that is asking questions. You reach out to people on LinkedIn who are in positions that you want to be in, who are new to companies or who have experience working at other companies, and you say, "Hey, I just read your resume or I just read your LinkedIn account and it was really impressive. I'm currently a college student or prepping to go to college, and I'm not asking you for anything but 15 minutes of your time to just pick your brain." That is the thing where if somebody is going to charge you, some people charge for stuff like that, but you'd be surprised how many conversations I've had with people just off an approach like that, where I tell them, I'm not looking to get anything out of it. I want to learn from you. Or even better, I have value to bring to you. So there have been situations where I've said, I make video games and I can make these video games on a bigger scale, and we can do some cool stuff where I save y'all money and y'all give me an opportunity and we have a fair trade-off. So things like that work. I recommend that you build casual relationships on LinkedIn like that, where you say, even this, is it okay if, even if I don't get 15 minutes every time, can I send you a message every few weeks just about the industry? Because I want to make sure I'm making the right decision. And in college, there's no way for us to get that exposure. So is that possible? Do that. React to people's content. When they're posting jobs, find every recruiter that you can in the companies that you want to work for or the businesses that you want to work for. That's the same thing. The business areas that you want to work for, find these companies and find their recruiters. Find the recruiters in your areas. Find the technical recruiters, the senior recruiters, the new recruiters, and follow them all. You cannot have too many recruiters that you follow unless these are jobs. You're getting flooded with jobs that you would never work. But you cannot follow too many recruiters at all. So I say follow as many recruiters as you can, and what you need to do, don't go under every post saying, I would be perfect for this job. Thank you. I'm applying now. Don't do that, because I don't think that works. I think what you need to do instead is this. Understand what the pattern is. Do your research first on what these jobs are. Make sure it's a job that makes sense for you. And then what you want to do is you want to cater your resume and cater the things that you add to your resume going forward to the positions that you want. But how does that work? It works like this. I was a game developer, self-taught, who got a job as a game developer as an intern after working 5 years doing it. And I knew that I needed to move or pivot in some direction when I lost my job during COVID. I didn't know where I would go. I wrote down on a whiteboard 3 different softwares that I wanted to learn how to use that would help me become a programmer. I wrote them down. I had C#, C++, and JavaScript, all 3 of them. When the opportunity came up for me to become an intern, now my internship that I was offered was to become a software engineer. And it just so happened that the position that they were hiring for and my skill set were already on the same trajectory. So I was already teaching myself software engineer stuff in my spare time. I taught myself how to use AWS, and I told them I don't know how. I'm not a master at all this stuff, but here's what I created. This is what I built with AWS. I built this DynamoDB data table that stores all of the data for my wrestling game. I have AWS lambdas that are used to communicate between the data table and API gateway. And API gateway has the endpoint that my game hits to pull data and send data. And that alone was like, oh crap, you taught yourself this? It's like, yeah. And that was the thing where they said, cool, well, this aligns. So when I went to get the full-time position a couple months later, I looked at I looked at their job posting, and I went through the list and said, check, 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 check. This is how I will feel this role. This is how I feel this role. This is how much experience I have in this field, in this role, doing this thing. And I made an offer letter with every single detail on the things that I could do, and got the job within a week. Because that was it. That was the next thing. I didn't stop there. I did the offer letter, and then because I was an internal on this one, I was actually blessed. I reached out to the recruiter who was on that assignment, and I said, do you know who the team lead for this is? Who is the director? And he gave me the name of the director. And I reached out to the director, and I said, is this position still open? He said, yeah. I just watched the Will Smith movie, Pursuit of Happiness, the night before, and I was motivated. I needed to find something. That year from him would led to a 1 week long conversation where I met every single person in the team. We connected, bonded over stuff, and he offered me the position. And he's still somebody I hold near and dear to my heart to this day. I still keep in contact with him, even though he's not with the company anymore. Because that's what a genuine relationship is. When you build relationships with people, this is another thing that's helpful for you. Don't just make it a what can I get out of you today situation. Not only because you might need people in the future, but because you want to be a genuine person. You don't want people to feel used and abused when they deal with you, where it was just, okay, they got what they needed, now they're gone. Don't leave that impression on folks. You don't want to be like that, right? So I know I gave y'all a lot, and I could make a bunch of series like these because I'm thinking of more stuff. But definitely getting a financial advisor, somebody to talk about finances is big. And another thing I'm gonna tell you real quick, I think you should do Financial Peace University. This is not a sponsored post or anything, but I think if you can avoid getting into crazy debt, and even if you get a little debt, you have a strategy to apply based off Financial Peace University, you'll put yourself in a good situation. Because I know folks who have $90,000 in student loan debt. I know people who have $60,000 in consumer debt, crazy car notes. I'm sitting here like, what are we doing? But some of these mistakes start young. They start young and people don't know how to dig themselves out, so they keep digging deeper in. You don't have to do that, especially at your age. Set your life up for success today. Don't set yourself up for failure, okay? If this content was helpful, just leave a like, leave a comment, and tell me this was helpful. Or if you want to go above and beyond, tell me what it is that you are most worried about when it comes to being an adult. Is it paying the bills? Is it finding a job? Is it finding a relationship? Is it potentially being lonely? Is it AI taking over? What is it? There's always something that we're worried about as we get older. And I just want to know what it is for you, all right? Make sure you subscribe, and I want y'all to keep fighting for your life. Peace.